Hey kids, it's Flight Sergeant 4 back again. Don't forget, that's Flight Sergeant L-E-F-O-R-T. Comrade Scout, guys. So, it is currently 12:54 in the morning. So, we're gonna lock in and get our uniform ready. And I'm gonna teach you guys my tips and tricks of how I get my uniform looking so spiffy. So, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my shirt. And this might seem a little bit odd, but I'm gonna flip it inside out without a thing of hairspray easily. We're not gonna use too much hairspray. We're just gonna use enough to make it not even moist. We're just gonna use our hairspray. This is the Kevin Murphy stuff. Usually I use Got To Be, but I don't have very much. I might go in with this in a second though. And let it dry. We're gonna take them and we're gonna flip them entirely inside out. That is the goal. And the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go in with our Got To Be, and we're just gonna go right up to the crease. Don't need to be as light-handed with this because these pants can take a lot more and show a lot less. And yeah, that's basically what we do to one side, is we spray it all the way down. And if you look at that really carefully, you can see it's kind of moist, wet. It's actually really wet because you use a lot of hairspray. But that's how you get your pants to basically stand up on their own, which is really good when you're wearing them because then you can't see anything because your pants are very heavily creased. So then I just go in, hairspray all the other sides, and continue on with life. My bottle's empty. Get it nice and tight, get it nice and crispy, and then you're good to hang them. But we're not done hairspraying yet. And I feel like you guys can already guess what's gonna happen, but you're gonna take it, you're gonna twist it inside out. I'm done that. Sorry, my bonnet's showing. Hey, 3:30, we're back again. I think 2 days later, maybe 3. I'm not entirely sure. Our uniform is fully dry, and the way you know that it's dry enough, specifically for the pants, is they kind of move as a unit. I'm just gonna take these and hang them over here. One quick thing that you're gonna wanna make sure is you have your iron filled with water. I personally use mine on high heat, but if you're gonna be iffy about whether or not your iron will burn your clothes or even react with the hairspray, I would suggest doing it at a lower heat. And with our pants, freshly sprayed with hairspray, they're still inside out. And you wanna make sure that you keep your hanger really close, because the second you're done ironing these, you want to hang them back up so that then any of the residual heat or anything like that doesn't cause any wrinkles or staining in your pants. For reference, this is what the pants look like when you flip them. You can see how the pants kind of don't want to be in this direction, which is good because we're going to use water to help us manipulate it. Your pants and just redefine that crease. And if you hairspray them, it makes it a lot easier. It's almost like folding paper. You just want it to go straight up from the bottom. So you want to find the center of it and just straight up all the way to the top of your pants. And as for the back, you want it to be quite similar to the front. The only difference is you want that crease to go all the way up to that back loop. It can be really hard because there is a pocket there and there's extra fabric, but just try to pull it out of the way and make the most of it. Make sure you use a lot of steam. This much steam is perfect. start with the inside of the leg before you go to the outside. When you go to the outside, make sure you're just smoothing out any extra creases in case you make any wrinkles while you're ironing. So we just finished up ironing down both pant legs. So they're both pretty straight, pretty nice. As you can see, really flat. So the final thing I'm gonna do, which is mainly for the front, is I'm just gonna fold it all inward. And I'm gonna do one clean go through over the creases like this. So given that everything is flat, straight, and the way it should be, nothing should go wrong. After doing that, which is literally just a quick once over, I'm just going to open up the pant legs, make sure there's no extra creases, pull out my trusty hanger. I use a hanger like this, like one of the ones that opens and closes. You can use other types of hangers. I would not suggest using just a regular hanger that you would use on a shirt, just because that can create extra folds and creases that you really don't need to deal with. Shirt. So for the blue shirt, you want to, again, unflip it, and you want to make sure you take the epaulettes off before you start ironing, just because that can be damaging to the epaulettes. So that's just a suggestion, but do whatever. Also, a quick thing to note, you should always be wearing your epaulettes when you have on your full blues, because you never know when we're going to be told, oh, actually we want you to wear a summer dress. So try your best to always have your epaulettes on your blues, because you never know when they're going to change up the uniform. And yeah, it's just for the best. So to start off, we're going to start with doing the sleeves, because if you start with doing the entire body and you end with the sleeves, you could just wrinkle everything up. So we're going to start with ironing out our sleeves, making sure these creases are nice and sharp, and we'll move on to the side panels at the front and then the back, and we'll move on to this back panel, which can be quite hard to get. So sleeve press shirt from all angles, great, fine, wonderful. We're going to take our hanger and we're just going to hang it up. Make sure that you get your creases sitting nicely on the hanger, just so that then they don't lose too much of their creaseness or add a secondary crease. And what I really like to do is I like to button up a few of the buttons when it's hanging, just so that then it isn't slipping off the hanger, it isn't moving around too much, and hopefully everything will stay nice and flat for me. Of course, you know, you can't always guarantee everything, but the main goal at the end of the day is that the shirt, pants, and the tunic stay as flat as possible until they're on your body. I'm just going to put my epaulettes back on just in case, because you never know, with the weather heating up, we might end up in summer dress. So here I have my lovely shirt sitting beautifully, and I'll just hang this up with my pants and we will move on to our tunic. Alrighty guys, so here we have our tunic. As you can see, mine still has the belt on, my name tag, my pin. You can see my tunic has my name tag, my pin. If I had any medals, they would be on here. Anyways, so you just want to take any of your pins or buttons off. Make sure that your pockets are empty, because if your pockets are not empty, you could be ironing something into your uniform. For example, I knew I had something in this pocket, a lovely name tag, ate that down. Anyways, so what you want to make sure you do before you start ironing is you want to make sure you take the belt off of your tunic, because you, first of all, don't need it there, and second of all, you want to make sure to go over that separately, because you can see creases in it, shockingly enough. I know. So for the tunic, It is made of the same fabric as the pants, so you want to make sure you use lots of water, you're very gentle with the heat, and you want to make sure that you're just going easy on it. Now, there are not as many places that you need to iron on the tunic. There is only one place where you should have a crease, and that's at the collar and also coming down to make sure that it stays nicely tucked like that, the way it should be. So basically for the tunic, you just want to make sure the back looks flat and the sides look flat, and then everything that should be creased has a crease. So as I'm ironing this, I'm going to quickly tell you about badges. As you can see here, I have my squadron insignia, my rank, and at the bottom, I have any squadron achievements. So here is sports and fitness, and here is my level badge. Many of you do not have your ranks, your squadron insignia sewn on. Many of you who have it sewn on do not have it sewn on correctly. I will not be making a video on how to sew them on. Reason being, I don't even sew my ranks on. I have not sewn my ranks on myself since I was in level 3. And that's just because I got busy. Life gets in the way. Life before cadets, guys. Keep that in mind. But I got busy with school. I got busy with friends. I got busy with working, all these other things. And I did not have the time to sew my ranks and insignia and any badges on correctly and make sure they were on correctly and tight and up to standard. So I went to a tailor. I usually go to the tailor at Moore's on Eglinton, but you guys can go to whichever tailor you want. There's so many good tailors out there. I would just make sure you check them out before you go, take your uniform, pay for them to do it, and then have it done wrong, because that was unfortunately my first experience with a tailor when I gave them my uniform. I gave them my uniform, gave them the squadron insignia, gave them my rank. One rank was down to here and the other rank was up here and upside down. So would not recommend, but you guys can go wherever you want. Just keep in mind that for a tailor, a lot of the time you're paying for experience. So for example, all of the ranks and badges and insignia on my uniform, so that's 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 things being sewn on in total. When I went to Moore's, it cost about $70 for those 8 things to be sewn on correctly. And they did it right the first time. They had it done in a few days. When I just needed my rank and insignia sewn on, it cost about $50, but just keep in mind that, you know, time, cost, all of that, things change. So take that with a grain of salt. That's simply how much I paid. And that's also with an account at Moore's. Get an account at Moore's, it's great. So that's that, but I would 100% recommend, you know, checking it out. If you have the time and the want to sew on your own ranks and insignia, then 100% go for it. It's not the hardest thing in the world. It's relatively simple. It's just extremely time consuming. That's the one constraint that it has, is that it's very, very time consuming. So if you have the time, you have the energy, you have the want, go for it. The worst that can happen is you need to re-sew on the same rank 5 times because you had it wrong. And don't forget, there is a manual online on how things should be sewn on. Please wash your ties, please iron your ties, but you don't need to do it every single week because it's not directly on your skin. So kids, that was how you iron your full blue uniform. If anyone has any extra questions, any comments, any concerns, you can feel free to ask me, Flight Sergeant Lefort. That's Flight Sergeant L-E-F-O-R-T. Hold on, we got the name tag. That's L-E-F-O-R-T. Don't forget it for Comrades Cup. And this was how to iron your full blue uniform using hairspray. Make sure those creases stay. I hope you guys have lots of fun getting ready for ACR, and best of luck. Lots of love, your Flight Sergeant. Anyways, that was how to iron your full blues with Hairspray with Flight Sergeant Lefort. That's Flight Sergeant, Lefort. Don't forget it for Comrade's Cup. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that comment button so I can know your thoughts. Have a great day.